Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to go over the history of the Monte Cristo mine and its adjacent claims. First of all, we need to go over the point that this is not the Monte Cristo mine in Washington, or the one in Oregon, or the one in Nevada, or several other ones throughout the states. There are many of them. This is the Monte Cristo gold mine located in the Angeles National Forest in Los Angeles County, California, USA. I'll be reading from an article by Bob Kirsten, who once owned the mine before I bought it, and this is the history of the Monte Cristo. The first record of discovery of gold in Los Angeles County was in 1834. From 1834 to 1838, the San Francisquito Canyon, the Placerita Casita, and the Santa Felicita placers were worked by priests from the San Fernando and San Buenaventura missions. The placers of the San Gabriel Canyon were worked by priests and native Californians until 1848, when gold was discovered in Sutter's Mill and everybody headed up north. Reports of work on gold quartz veins in the Mount Gleason area indicate that the Monte Cristo mine was probably discovered quite early. The Monte Cristo mine, as it's known today, first came into light during the Big Tahunga gold excitement of the late 1880s. Just who the prospectors were who located the gold-bearing veins and began to mine is unknown. A man by the name of Delos Colby, the founder of Colby Ranch in Coldwater Creek, nearby the Monte Cristo, recounted this story as he knew it. When I first came to these mountains about 24 years ago, that being 1891, the Monte Cristo was being worked by Spanish people. They carried the ore up to the crusher, driven by a large water wheel. When they left, I tore down the water wheel and used it for building materials on my ranch. Mr. Colby's story of the large water wheel gains in interest when compared to an article that appeared in the Los Angeles Semi-Weekly News of January 4th, 1867. A new mining district north of Tahunga and east of Soledad District has been formed. Gold-bearing quartz of great richness has been discovered. 4 large arrastras will be in operation in a few days. A water wheel of 60 feet in diameter is being erected for the purpose of driving a stamp mill. According to some of the old-timers, the paper was describing the beginnings of the Monte Cristo mine. Around 1893, the property was formally claimed by Colonel Baker. A company was organized and some $85,000 was spent building a rough wagon road from Acton up Aliso Canyon, over Mill Creek Summit, and down to the Monte Cristo mine. Heavy mining machinery was transported in and assembled. The buildings were then erected. The first account of any extensive work in the Monte Cristo gold mine appears in 1895. Development at that time included several adits and 3 shafts 10 feet to 40 feet deep. The rock was crushed in a 4-stamp mill with 600-pound stamps and a 5-foot Huntington mill. 2 of the above-mentioned mines were free milling and 2 produced sulfide ores. Soon after, in 1895, ownership was passed to R.E. Hudson. There's no further information about R.E. Hudson's run of the Monte Cristo mine. A few years later, J.J. Haish, owner of a store in Acton, grub-staked Captain Eldridge Fuller, who, with a succession of partners, ruled the Monte Cristo mine for some 20 years of stormy personal controversy and marginal mining success. It seems that Fuller could never get along with his partners, and one by one they either sold out, were driven away, or met with foul play. Mr. Dallas Colby related an incident that appears typical of the Fuller era. Fuller once entered a partnership with two brothers, Hudson by name, but seems to have taken into confidence another party by the name of Hutchison. Hutchison quarreled with the Hudson brothers, who threatened him and drove him off. Fuller and Hutchison then turned on the Hudson brothers. On a trip to Los Angeles and Pasadena, they plotted to kill or drive off the Hudsons from the Monte Cristo mine. After a drinking spree, they arrived at the mouth of the Arroyo Seco, where, finding themselves in need of more liquor to bolster their courage, they stopped. Fuller returned to the city to replenish the liquor supply. Upon returning to the arroyo, he found Hutchison with his head done blown off with a gun. A short while later, the Hudson brothers withdrew from partnership, leaving Fuller sole possessor of the Monte Cristo gold mine. In 1897, carefree as he was, Fuller suddenly departed to the Yukon to join the Klondike Gold Rush. Upon his empty-handed return 2 years later, he induced a man by the name of Hauser to supply $1,500 in order to start work once again on the Monte Cristo gold mine. The property at that time was then recorded in Hauser's name. When the money was expended, Fuller turned on his partner and went to Los Angeles to swear that the improvement work required by mining law had not been completed. Hauser therefore lost his lease, lost the claim, and the conniving Fuller once again jumped the claim and became sole owner. Fuller's last years at the Monte Cristo mine were trying ones. Mining proved unprofitable, so he bought a string of mules and did some hauling for mountain neighbors such as Captain Loomis on Adler Creek and Dallas Colby at Coldwater Creek. Around 1915, Fuller finally left for good. Soon after, Fred W. Carlisle jumped the claim and remained in control of the Monte Cristo until he died in 1946. Carlisle had been an assayer for the Randburg mining district, where he had reportedly suffered financial losses, and came to Mill Creek looking to revive his expiring fortunes. Under Carlisle, the Monte Cristo gold mine reached its zenith. During the years of 1923 and 1928, gold-bearing ore was removed from two quartz veins about 1,000 feet apart. To tap these, 6 tunnels were bored, 2 of them reaching back 425 feet into the mountainside. New machinery, including a Baker crusher and a portable air compressor, were laboriously hauled in. According to California State Mining Bureaus, a total of $70,000 was recovered from the Monte Cristo gold mine in 1927. Old-timers, however, insist the figure is more like $200,000, and that the difference was stolen by high-graders. $200,000 in gold back then would be approximately $20 million in today's money. In the late 20s, Mr. Carlisle installed a small roasting and cyaniding plant to process the ore, but later the ore was shipped to Acton for processing. After that, the Monte Cristo gold mine reverted to a familiar pattern of promise followed by frustration. Several promising pay streaks were hit, only to fizzle out just as they appeared to spell bonanza. Carlisle, hard-pressed to make ends meet, was obligated to suspend operations for several years at a time. He leased the east and west veins to different operators, the only time the Monte Cristo gold mines were not worked as a single unit. From 1935 to 1942, the mine was worked only intermittently, and later in 1942 ceased operation altogether. In the 1940s, the Monte Cristo gold mine changed hands again and became property of Bob and Susan Kirsten. The property was acquired by their family in the 40s, which consisted of 25.66 acres of patented mine claim and 525 acres of contiguous mining claims which surrounded the Monte Cristo property. The Kirstens held this property as a resort property, and during that period, mining was restricted to hobby mining. After being in their family for nearly 70 years, I bought the property in 2018 with the presumption that no matter who has mined this area, they could not have found all the gold. I was going to find the rest. Besides, I'm retired. What else am I going to do? Well, that ends the history of the Monte Cristo gold mine. Hope you enjoyed it, and see ya! If you'd like to read the article of the history of Monte Cristo, it is on the website millsite.com. Thank you.